Ah, yes, the consistency monster. You must deliver content consistently. Every Monday at 9:42 a.m. you should be publishing something. You must post 7 times a day on LinkedIn in video, 4 times in image, 62 times in text. And if you're not doing that, you are a failure. So let's talk about that. My name's Chris Hargraves. I'm from Known, Liked and Trusted, where we talk about all things digital marketing for lawyers. And you can find me and more of my stuff at knownlikedandtrusted.com.au. Today we're talking about consistency. You have probably heard from any number of people, if you have spent any amount of time thinking about, investigating, researching content marketing strategies, you have probably heard the proposition that consistency is key, or something roughly along those lines, that it is important that you consistently deliver. Some people go so far as to say that you can be helped in your marketing efforts by delivering consistently at a reliable time. Should you release a podcast every Tuesday? Should you publish an article every Wednesday? Should you post a miraculously amazing thought every Thursday because you just happen to have them every Thursday and available to share with your social media network? The question of the day is, how important is that? So if we embrace the premise that some degree of consistency is helpful, I think that's a useful starting point. Certainly consistency is helpful. Having a procedure where you are regularly delivering valuable stuff to the people who care about what you have to say, or you might like to care about what you have to say, then that's a good thing. But inevitably, you have a busy week or a busy fortnight or a busy month, and it's very difficult to get back on track. So firstly, let's not panic, okay? If you go through a little bit of a content malaise, you have a slight torpor in your preparation of material for publication to the world at large, then I don't think you need to punch yourself in the face too many times, but nor would I encourage you just to give up entirely. So if you have had a busy period, accept that for what it is. You know, you had a trial, you had 57 contracts land on your desk, you had an enormous amount of things to do, and you just couldn't bring yourself to actually spend that additional time to deliver more in terms of your digital marketing effort, then let's just accept that for what it is and move on. However, I don't think that is a helpful permanent state to be in. And for some lawyers, there will always be something else that takes priority over the marketing effort. And if you're in that stage for a really long time, it's going to be unhelpful for your business over the medium to long term. Sure, you might have enough work now, and depending on what you have done in the past and how deep and wide your relationships go with people, you might have some work going into the future. But ultimately, I think the general proposition needs to be that some form of marketing effort needs to be on a fairly close horizon as soon as you can fit it in there. But how can you do it? There are a few ways, of course, to do it. The first is to front load as much as you can of the stuff that takes the most time. This means getting your topic selections out of the way. This means understanding how to use the technology properly so you're not frustrated by how to move articles into WordPress or how you're going to get videos actually edited and published and uploaded. Having that process actually done enough that you can do it smoothly, or you know exactly what you need to send to the people who are doing it for you, is particularly useful. Because to be honest, a large part of the time in content production in particular is that sort of frustrating stuff that takes a while, but doesn't need to take a while. Often it's the topic selection. It's not necessarily the actual production of the thing. It's the fact that we haven't found a nice process to produce the thing because we're spending a lot of time on stuff we could get done at another time. So front load that work, learn how to use things, have your topics selected in advance, know who you're writing for, know roughly what sort of framework your articles follow. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. You can write articles that follow a fairly predictable pattern. You know, it's like Doctor Who episodes. You know roughly what the arc of the Doctor Who episode is going to be because it follows a fairly reliable pattern most of the time. I think that's a good starting point. The second is this: consider what type of content you're producing. So if your content plan has been unmanageable for you for a meaningfully long period of time, then I think maybe you need to go back to the beginning and rethink your content strategy. Because really a strategy that doesn't get executed is utterly worthless. So you've got two realistic options. You can change the way you are working entirely so that you can execute the strategy, or you can change the strategy in a way that is executable. And that might mean accepting for the moment that you're not going to be posting 10,000 word ultimate guides to insert topic here, but rather you might be posting a sentence or two on LinkedIn, you might be involved in a more of a commenting strategy or something like that on social media, you might be embracing sending out a short email newsletter to your people once a fortnight or something like that. But often where we get stuck is we have decided that the thing we need to do is this huge task, but in reality we just will never get to that because we've sort of made this mountain of a task that psychologically is unapproachable for us at our particular stage and with the particular other work priorities that we have. So maybe rethink your strategy. If you have told yourself too many times that, I just need to knuckle down and do it, and that hasn't happened for say 9 months, then I think that's a pretty good sign that you need to either rethink your strategy or there needs to be some form of really whole-scale change to the way you're working if you're going to implement this particular marketing strategy for your law firm. Okay? So change up the strategy, change up the work. Those are really, let's face it, kind of your only other options. The third one sounds entirely self-serving, but there is no particular reason you can't outsource at least a significant part of your marketing strategy to someone like me who has experience in the legal field. I'll talk about that another time, about non-legal marketing teams and where the pros and cons there are. But there's a certain amount of marketing momentum and impetus that can be gained by simply shifting that burden to someone else. It's not always ideal for all forms of marketing activity, okay? I can't make a video and then sort of deep fake myself so that I look and sound like you. Maybe someone can, but I don't think that's ideal. But there are certain things that can be done. There are certain publications that can be made, and there is a certain online digital presence that can be established, solidified, and consistent by embracing the fact that you don't need necessarily to do it all. And then you can free yourself to do those things that involve your personal, your personal je ne sais quoi, your personal touch and your idiosyncratic personality traits that you like to bring to the marketing table. So those are really 3 ways that you can look at trying to get this consistency, or at least this regularity. I don't personally embrace the idea of having to publish on a particular day at a particular time, but I do embrace the idea of having to turn up regularly on a particular forum or in a particular way, because I think that's going to have the most impact over the medium term, that you are a regular contributor to the discussion on the topics that you choose to embrace. That's all I was going to say on that particular topic. Do consider those options, see which one's going to work best for you, and of course, if you need to talk about anything, you know where to find me. I'll see you next time.